Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Very range bound over the last few days. Still in the range. Super narrow range today, 16.5 points. That's 39% of average. We've been averaging about 42 to 43 points per day on a 10 and 5 day basis. Volatility clearly dropping a little bit here today, or this week here as we head into holiday shortened weeks. Each of the next 2 weeks, we could be pretty much range bound here, which means sideways to up. Now, we're not really seeing enough juice to really push price down enough, but if we do see a test at the opposite edge of the range, 47.50, that's a buy back up. This market continues to just float higher. And that's likely what's going to transpire here heading into the end of the year. Sideways to up, finishing on the high of the year at some point. And we'll watch the edges for reactions here early next year. But right now, very bullish. Low range action. Any early morning weakness could be seen as an opportunity for bulls to defend and rotate this thing back up. If you take a look here at the NQ, similar price action for the NQ. This one's trading just 36% of ADR, still sideways to up, approaching 17K, just off that level now. 989 quarter is the high of the day, so just getting close to that 17K level. Sideways to up, still in play here. Any pullback could still be a buy as this thing likely finishes the year on the high. But again, given all the range that we've seen to begin the early part of the month, we could be looking at sideways price action with an upward bias. So wouldn't surprise me if we start to go a bit more quietly range bound. Taking a look here at crude oil. Crude here about flat on the day at the moment. Narrow range day. The previous session had a pretty strong move from the low to the high back to the midpoint. That's a nice intraday key range. We're now stuck in the center of that key range with a digestive day. Big downtrending market still in play with a huge rejection, or at least an initial rejection off the 74s from below. So that right there could be an indication of weakness, but if prices, we can find a way to get a higher low here and push higher through 74, it can open up some late year strength back towards 78 to 80. A failure to get back through 74s, and again we're back towards 67, 68 with a shot at 64, the bottom edge of the range. So 74 is going to be the big time pivot here to continue to watch. Looking at gold futures. Gold with a super narrow range here today as well, 40% of ADR, 11.4 points of range. Inside day, I believe that's back-to-back inside days, so a double inside, 4-day narrow range. 4-day narrow range here after a strong high. Again, are we kind of stuck between these two extremes and going sideways? Or is price starting to work its way a bit lower after failing to hold above 2080? That rejection here will tend to rotate prices back toward 1950, which is value, and the other end of the range, 1880 there. So right now, narrow range for gold. The potential is there for a higher range day at some point, whether it's today or later in the week. GDP coming up later on this week. We could be looking at a little bit of a breakout from this range, which could provide some nice directional movement. Again, given the downflow, still thinking we likely go down, but understanding right now that we may be stuck in the range here, back and forth for a little while. Taking a look lastly at the YM. The YM, about as narrow as it gets as well. 131 points, 47% of ADR. Super narrow 4-day range. It's kind of like what we've seen here. It's kind of like what we've seen here, here. Just an upward bias. Upward continuation. The 8-period average continues to flow at a very intense pace to the upside, pushing away from the December level. Again, this one's getting close to 38K, the round number now. So this one continues to push to new highs. Any pullback could still be a buying opportunity until proven otherwise. Again, not likely to see much in the way of pullback at this time, at least, as this market just isn't really able to go down at the moment. Flowing higher, any morning weakness could be signs of an opportunity to buy it for a late day continuation up. Still range bound, likely to finish on highs. And right now, holding above 37K, approaching 38, that could be the range that we kind of stick in here heading into the end of the year. So right now, range bound with an upward bias as volatility begins to drop heading into holiday shortened weekends or weeks each of the next 2 weeks. Now, in terms of economic data points here, we do have some data points that have already coming out later on this week. Existing home sales will be big here heading into Wednesday's market. GDP on Thursday. So range bound with a little bit of volatility likely creeping in later in the week. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this develops the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.